All right, buckle up, everybody. We're diving deep today into conquering fear and reaching success. But get this, our main source, it's an AI mindset coach. Yeah, you heard that right. AI. Sounds a little wild, I know. But honestly, this AI spits out some seriously smart advice. We threw a ton of questions at it about, overcoming fear, defining success, all that, and its answers. Let me tell you, they're pretty fascinating.
It is kind of wild to see AI popping up in personal development now. It really makes you think about what even is expertise these days.
Okay, so one of the first things that really hit me was this AI's whole tough love vibe. It's all about action, action, action. Even if you don't feel like 100% ready, it actually said ready is a myth. Kind of love that, gotta say. What do you think about that?
Well, it's interesting, right? Because it kind of goes against that classic advice of wait for the perfect moment. But this AI is like, nope, taking action, even messy action. That's the
Yeah.
key to busting through procrastination and moving forward.
Totally. It's like it reframes procrastination as this fear of imperfection, which honestly I think is spot on. Instead of getting stuck overthinking everything, just take those first steps, even tiny ones. It actually reminds me of this time I was totally freaked out to launch my website, kept tweaking it, perfecting it for months and months. But when things really took off, when I finally just hit publish, imperfections and all.
That's such a good example of how taking action, it can be the cure for fear and uncertainty. It's like that saying, 1,000-mile journey starts with one step.
Exactly. So to help us tackle fear head on, this AI, it laid out this super practical three-step plan. Step one, you name it, like actually say out loud what's freaking you out. Two, take baby steps towards that scary thing. And three, visualize a positive outcome. What do you think of that approach?
I think it's really smart, especially that visualization part. There's actually a ton of research on how vividly picturing success can actually rewire your brain for positive action. It's almost like you're creating a mental blueprint for success, which then influences your behavior.
It's like prepping your mind for the win before you even start. I can see how that would be super helpful. You know, the AI also had some interesting thoughts about turning fear into, get this, a motivator. It's all about shifting your focus from what if I fail to what if I succeed, and letting that excitement drive you.
That's like the whole positive reinforcement idea, right? Where if you focus on those potential rewards and benefits, it can make you way more likely to actually take action.
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
choosing to focus on the good stuff that could happen rather than getting bogged down by all those what ifs. I think that's a really powerful way to shift your perspective. Okay, now let's get into this AI's success plan. Step one, define what success even means to you, personally, I mean. Step two, use fear as fuel, like we just talked about. And step three, build daily habits that line up with your goals. What jumps out at you about this plan?
I really like how it emphasizes personalization. It's not about chasing some cookie cutter definition of success. It's about, figuring out what truly matters to you and then actually taking steps to make it happen.
It's like crafting your own custom roadmap for your journey, right? And speaking of taking steps,
Yeah.
I thought the AI's advice on those daily habits was super practical. Like if your goal is financial freedom, it suggests just committing to learning about investments for 15 minutes a day. Or if you want to be more creative, create something, anything, every single day. Those small, consistent actions, they really add up over time, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. Think about athletes who train consistently or writers who write every single day. It's those daily habits that build the foundation for extraordinary
It's
results.
like building momentum, one small action at a time. Okay, let's move on to another big one, showing up with confidence. The AI had some pretty cool insights on this, especially about how you project confidence, even in situations that, might make you nervous. It talked about the importance of preparation, body language, speaking powerfully, celebrating those small wins. It even mentioned power posing, like just standing in a confident pose for a few minutes before a big event can actually make you feel more powerful. What are your thoughts on that?
It's so fascinating how our bodies can actually influence our minds. There's been tons of research on power posing, and it really suggests that it can, have a measurable impact on, hormone levels and feelings of confidence.
It's like you're tricking your brain into feeling more confident. Okay, I know you mentioned you're about to teach your first Zoom class,
Yeah.
and I thought it was so cool that the AI had specific advice for that.
It was really insightful, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially how it emphasized being prepared and using interactive tools to, keep people engaged. Even virtually, you got to create that connection, make it as interactive as possible.
Love that. And its tips for handling these pre-class jitters were great too. Things like deep breathing, positive affirmations, and, yep, even doing a power pose right before going live.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pause here for a sec. We've covered a lot of ground already, but I'm really curious to hear what else this AI coach has to say, especially about building confidence and celebrating success.
Me too, definitely. This whole exploration has been such a fascinating look at how AI can be applied to, personal growth. I'm excited to see where it takes us next as we keep going with this. What's really striking me is how much this AI focuses on action. Seems like a big theme in all its advice.
Yeah, for sure. I'm seeing that too. It's not just like think positive thoughts and poof. It's about getting out there and doing things that match your goals, even if, they're small or not perfect.
And building on the whole confidence thing, the AI had some pretty cool advice for feeling nervous, before a big presentation. It said to shift your focus from you to them. Basically, remember the audience is there to learn from you, not to judge your every move.
That is such a good point. It's so easy to forget that. We get stuck in our heads thinking everyone's watching us. But honestly, most people care way more about the content than our little, slip-ups or whatever.
Right. It's like that saying, you wouldn't worry so much what others think if you knew how little they do. We way overestimate how much attention people are paying to us.
So true. The AI also talked about how important it is to start strong. Like having a killer opening for your presentation that sets the tone. It even gave an example like, "Hi everyone, welcome. I'm so excited to be here with you today."
Yeah, it's amazing how much of a difference that makes. Just a simple, well-practiced opening can calm your nerves and instantly connect with the audience.
It's like setting the stage for a great performance.
Yeah.
And speaking of performance, the AI had some pretty smart advice for that fear of, what is it, blanking out during a presentation. Remember you mentioned struggling with that sometimes.
Yeah, totally. That fear of suddenly forgetting everything. It can be so distracting and make you super anxious.
Well, the AI had a few suggestions. First, obviously know your stuff cold.
Yeah.
Practice, practice, practice. But it also gets that even when you're super prepared, slip-ups can still happen.
Which is why I really liked its advice about having a one-page summary or using index cards as little reminders. It's like a safety net.
Exactly. Having that visual backup can really calm you down, even if you never end up needing it.
Yeah.
I also love this suggestion too, use your slides themselves as memory cues.
That's smart because it keeps you A&D their audience on track. Plus, if you design your slides to support your main points, it can make your whole presentation clearer and flow better.
The AI also said, it's okay to pause, take a breath, even admit if you forgot something. So that the audience is way more likely to appreciate you being real than to judge you for a little mistake.
That is so reassuring to hear. We put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect.
Right.
But people actually connect more when we're just genuine and relatable.
It's like when a speaker messes up and then laughs it off.
Yeah.
It makes them seem more human and you kind of like them more for it. And you know what else the AI suggested? Get the audience involved.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Instead, asking questions, doing polls, having interactive stuff can actually give you a little mental break if you're feeling lost.
It's like a mini pause while still keeping everyone engaged. Plus, it takes the focus off of you for a sec, which can definitely help with that performance anxiety.
Totally.
And speaking of anxiety, the AI had some good relaxation tips for before presentation, like box breathing. And yep, you guessed it, power posing.
I love that even in AI is all about managing stress and calming those pre-presentation jitters.
Right. It just shows how connected our minds and bodies really are.
Yeah, by controlling our breathing, striking a confident pose, we can actually change our brain chemistry and feel less anxious.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about handling nerves, showing up confident. Now, I want to shift gears a bit and get into the AI's advice on actually structuring your Zoom class to make it as engaging and impactful as possible.
I'm all ears. I'm always looking for ways to make my presentations more dynamic, interactive, especially online. It's tougher to keep people's attention.
Well, the AI said to start with a clear overview of the topic and then gradually introduce more complex ideas. It really stressed breaking down info into bite-sized chunks, especially with something like AI, which can seem kind of intimidating.
Yeah, that makes sense. Meet the audience where they're at, right? Guide them through the material so it feels easy to grasp and keeps them interested.
The AI also said to use real-world examples to illustrate those key concepts, make the info relatable, which is a great tip for any presentation, honestly, but especially important when you're dealing with something as, potentially abstract as AI.
Definitely. Concrete examples help ground the information, make it easier for people to connect with it personally.
I also loved the suggestion to do live demos of AI tools during the class. What better way to demystify AI than to actually show it in action?
Demos are the best. They bridge that gap between theory and practice and can really spark people's curiosity.
The AI even recommended encouraging your students to, like, try out at least one AI tool during the week. See how they can use it for their own work. It's all about taking that knowledge and actually applying it.
That's a great call to action. It turns participants into active learners and gets them to start using these tools in their own lives.
And you know, it's not just about those practical uses of AI. The AI also talked about building a mindset of like continuous learning, being adaptable. It reminded us that AI is always changing. So we got to stay curious, embrace new ideas, be willing to experiment.
That's such a powerful message. And it goes way beyond just AI, you know. It reminds us that learning is a lifelong thing, and staying open to new possibilities is key to growth in all areas of life.
It's like that Einstein quote, once you stop learning, you start dying.
That's so true. I think it's time for a little pause here to reflect on everything we've learned from this AI coach. What's standing out to you the most from all this advice?
I think what really hits home for me is how practical and encouraging the AI's advice is. It's not about achieving some like crazy huge vision of success. It's about those small, consistent actions, embracing the imperfections, and celebrating every step along the way.
It's a good reminder that success isn't a destination, it's a journey, right? And that journey is made up of tons of little steps, each one worth celebrating.
It's like building a mosaic. Each tiny piece adds to the beauty of the whole thing. I'm also struck by how much the AI focuses on the power of our own minds.
Yes. It's like the AI is saying, hey, you've got all the tools you need inside you to reach your goals. It's just about tapping into that potential and taking action.
And you know what? Hearing that from an AI is incredibly inspiring. It makes you wonder, like, if an AI believes in us that much, shouldn't we believe in ourselves even more?
That is a powerful question to think about. As we head into the last part of our deep dive, I'm really curious to see how the AI addresses that very idea.
Okay, so we're back, ready to wrap up this AI self-improvement deep dive. I'm excited to hear what last bits of wisdom this AI coach has for us.
I know, me too. It's been so interesting seeing its take on personal growth. Curious how it all comes together in the end.
Well, one thing that really stuck with me was its message about defining success on your own WN terms. You know, it wasn't about chasing some like external standard or comparing yourself. It was about figuring out what truly matters to you and building a life that matches your values, your dreams, all that.
Oh, yeah, that really resonated with me too. It's so easy to get caught up in what society says success is, but this AI is like, nope, step back and decide for yourself.
Exactly. Create your own personal definition of success, right?
Yeah.
One that reflects your strengths, your passions, your unique goals. And speaking of goals, the AI also had some cool insights on turning fear into a motivator, especially when going after those goals.
I want to hear more about that. You mentioned it suggested like flipping the script on fear, focusing on what if I succeed instead of failure.
Right. It's about acknowledging the fear is there, but choosing to focus on the potential good stuff that could happen. The AI really emphasized that fear often means we're pushing ourselves out of our comfort zones. That's where growth happens.
It's like that saying, feel the fear and do it anyway. This AI is basically saying we can use fear as a guide to point us towards the experiences that'll help us learn and grow.
Love that analogy. And remember how the AI talked about celebrating small wins along the way? I think that's so crucial for staying motivated.
It's smart. The AI uses positive reinforcement to keep you moving forward. Like by acknowledging and celebrating each step towards your goal, you create this positive loop in your brain that makes you want to keep going.
Yeah, it's like giving yourself little pats on the back throughout the process, which can make a huge difference in staying motivated, especially when things get tough.
And speaking of tough, the AI had some really helpful advice on how to show up confident even when you're nervous. Remember all that stuff about preparation, body language, even power posing?
Oh, yeah, and it stressed the importance of, like, owning your physical presence, even online, in a Zoom class. Things like sitting up straight, using gestures, smiling to show warmth.
It all goes back to that mind-body connection, right? The AI's advice on power posing taps right into that. Like, just holding your body in a confident way can actually change how you feel internally, make you feel more powerful.
It's almost like you're tricking your brain into being more confident. I've tried it a few times, and I gotta say, it kind of works.
Me too. I agree. There's definitely something to that. Okay, before we wrap up, I got to ask about that AI celebration checklist. Remember how it said to celebrate being ready for your Zoom class?
Oh, yes. I loved that part. It was so encouraging. You basically said, give yourself props for all the hard work you've put in, plan a little reward for after the class, and visualize yourself crushing it.
It was such a good reminder to acknowledge our accomplishments, celebrate those wins no matter how big or small.
And its final message was just so inspiring. It said, "You are capable, prepared, and more than enough. The effort you've put into this class shows your commitment and passion. Whether it's a packed Zoom room or a small group, your impact will be real."
Wow, that is powerful stuff. It's a reminder that we all have the potential to make a difference and that our efforts matter even if we don't see the results right away.
Gives me chills. So as we wrap up this deep dive into AI self-improvement, I want to leave you with this. If an AI can give such smart, inspiring advice on conquering fear and achieving success, imagine what you can do when you tap into your own potential and take action towards your goals.
That's a perfect way to end it. This has been such a fascinating look at how technology and personal growth can come together. It leaves me feeling really optimistic about the future.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep striving for your best self.